You have reached the point of no return.
Hey guys, it's Saturday night and I'm back on schedule. I'm not really gonna touch on what I've been up to tonight, like where I've been and what I've been doing. What I really want to do tonight is I want to finish up my series on the Mortal Instruments series. I want to finish up by talking about the latest book, The Mortal Instruments, Book 5, City of Lost Souls. So the first chapter of the book picks up right where it left off, except it starts out with Simon. He is at his mom's house and he's trying to get in. It's just after he talked to Lilith and she said all this stuff, and he finds his house and it's protected against him. It's got all kinds of biblical symbols and protection marks on the door, so he can't get in. And he speaks with his mom, and she still thinks he's crazy. And then he asks about his sister, and is warned to stay away from her because his mom basically thinks that whoever he is, he killed the real Simon and is impersonating him, and she's basically nuts. Um, Later on in the book, um, Simon actually meets up with his sister, and she accepts him for who he is because she knows that he's Simon, no matter what. Um, after what that happens in the next chapter, it's like 2 weeks later, and Clary has been questioned over and over again by the Clave using the Mortal Sword. They're trying to figure out everything she knows and exactly what happened and what's going on because they have no idea where Jace is, and everybody's kind of desperate to find him. So when the Clave is just about to drop the case and they've pretty much given up all hope, Clary goes to the Seelie Queen, the Queen of the Fairies again, seeking to get some help because she knows a lot of things and she probably knows where Jace is the argument. Um, but she is insulted accidentally by them, and she makes Alec look like an old guy, and he freaks out. And what happens is they apologize, and Alec is returned to normal, and the Seelie Queen is still kind of ticked. So she says the only way she will help them find Jace, is if they retrieve two fairy rings that were captured in some old war or whatever that allow the users to communicate telepathically when one wears one ring and the other wears another. Later, Clary goes to retrieve the rings. They're in the Institute's library. While she's in there getting the rings, all of a sudden, Jace and Sebastian come out. They like just appear, and they're just talking and grabbing books, and they sound like old friends, and it's freaking Clary out, but she doesn't let them know that she's there. She like hides where they can't see her, and she's just freaking out. Why are they talking like they're old friends? Sebastian killed Jace's little brother, his adopted little brother. And they're just like, she's just like, what is going on? And when they finally leave, she runs to Isabel and Alec and them, and is freaking out and crying and tells them what's going on and what happened. And they're all just trying to figure out what could be wrong with Jace and what this means. The entire time, Alec is kind of freaking out himself because he's Jace is parabatai, so normally he can feel Jace in a way that other people can't. He can sense that he's alive, he can sense if he's okay, things like that. But what he feels is that he feels that Jace is fine, but there's something wrong. Like nothing, not something physical or something that's going to kill him, but there's something missing, is the way he describes it. The night that Clary sees this happen, later on when she goes home and she goes to bed at Luke's house, because that's where she basically lives now. She wakes up to find Jace lying right next to her, and he's asking Clary to join him and Sebastian in whatever it is they're doing. He won't tell her yet, but just to join them. He also says that he still loves her, and they kiss, and they're like about to get intimate, but they're interrupted by Sebastian, and Clary just flips out and tries to reason with Jace, but all he does is say, "Just join us. He's fine. He's okay. Just join us." And she's just trying to figure out what's going on. And Jocelyn walks in, and she just flips out at the sight of Sebastian. She hates this child. Like it's her child, but she doesn't consider him her child. That like when he was born, he had like black eyes and he was part demon, and she considers it this way. Valentine killed her real child, and whatever that thing is, that's not her child. But what happens is there ends up being like this huge fight where Sebastian almost kills Luke, like very like with like a silver blade or something like that. I can't quite remember. The only reason he doesn't kill Luke is because Jace stops him, and as they're leaving, Jace mouths to Clary, "I'm gonna come back for you," and they literally disappear into thin air, and everybody's just like, "What happened?" Luke ends up being okay, but he's seriously, seriously hurt. And Jocelyn, in a freak act, decides that Clary and Jocelyn need to move in with Magnus because he's got all kinds of wards around his house that keep people from getting in if he doesn't want them to get in. They're living there, and Clary overhears a conversation with Magnus and Jocelyn saying that she's comparing Clary and Jace to herself and Valentine, saying that Jace is exactly like Valentine and that he's doing the same thing Valentine was doing, and Clary is pissed. She goes off by herself, and she has the power to create runes, as you know, and she decides to create a rune that makes a portal to wherever you want to go instead of having to do the whole ritual thing. So she portals out of his house and meets Simon at their usual diner, the place they like to hang out. What happens is they come up with a plan to use the rings that Clary got, the ones that let you communicate telepathically, and she's going to go with Jace wherever he is and telepathically communicate with Simon, telling him what their plans are and what's going on, and just try and reason with Jace. So she goes with him, and where they actually are is they're in this kind of like other dimension where Valentine set up a house and a place. It's like a separate dimension only for this house. That's all that is there, and it can like occupy the same space as where we are, and it can travel between places on the earth. And what Valentine did is he set it up as like a home for when Jocelyn would return to him, because he was basically like obsessed with her, and it's really really cool. Like it's decked out, it's just complete, and the only reason that Sebastian knows about it is because Valentine told him, because he was like Valentine's favorite son. While all of this is going on, everybody is just trying to figure out how they can kill Sebastian without killing Jace, because at this point they know that the two of them are linked by the mark that Lilith put on his chest. Jace is acting exactly like Sebastian because he's basically under Sebastian's possession. Anything that Sebastian really says, Jace just kind of goes along with it. They're trying to figure out how they can kill Sebastian without killing Jace, because it's basically just like being a Parabatai, and they're just kind of like, they don't know what to do, but they finally figure out that they can kill him by using a blade from heaven. Like they can break the connection, but it can only be given to you by an angel, and so they decide to summon Raziel, the angel that started the Shadowhunters in the first place. They decide that Simon should do it because he has the mark of Cain on his forehead. so he can't be killed, and the angel can't kill him. He is protected, and what happens is he agrees to it, and what happens is he agrees to it. After that, it cuts to Clary. She's learning different things, and she learned that Sebastian's plan is to create an army of dark shadow hunters. Basically, he's going to create a second Mortal Cup, but that has a demon alliance, and he's going to do it by using Lilith's blood and I can't remember what the metal is called, but the same metal, like the angelic metal that they have, that the Silent Brothers use and the Iron Sisters use and all that stuff. They learn how where to. One little detail I left out is they learn where to get the sword by talking to the Iron Sisters, which are the counterpart of the Silent Brothers. They make the weapons while the Silent Brothers kind of are like knowledge based. After she learns what his plan is, there comes a random night where Jace comes home and he's kind of separated, and later on when Clary goes to bed, Jace comes into her room and tells her that the mark has been severed by a special blade while he was fighting. Um, a blade covered in angel blood uh, came across the mark and severed it. So it's not forever, but it's taking a long time to heal, and at the moment he is free of the possession. And he goes up to her and he tells her he's sorry for all the things he's done. He remembers it all and he hates it. And he remembers the things he's done and he doesn't like it. He hates it. And they're just about to do it, get really intimate. And she's gonna do it. She wants to do it, but Jace stops himself because he doesn't want their first time to be while he's under possession, because he knows that he could slip under back into it at any moment, and he doesn't want to take the chance. I know this is kind of weird me telling you guys this, but it's actually a big point in the book. The next day, Jace is about to turn himself into the Clave. He feels it's the right thing to do, and no matter the consequences, it's better than helping Sebastian. But Clary doesn't want to take the chance of him getting killed. So, right before he walks out and does it, Clary tells Sebastian that the connection is broken, and they fight, and Sebastian heals the mark, and so he's basically goes back to being possessed, and Clary kind of earns Sebastian's like trust that way. Up until this point, he didn't really trust her, and he's actually kind of getting a little sentimental with her. While all this is happening, Simon goes to Luke's house to summon the angel, and he does it, and the angel gives Simon the blade, but in exchange, the angel takes the mark of Cain off of his forehead, because he says, "You have no right to wear that mark. That mark was not made for you. I'm going to take it in exchange for this." And they agreed, and that's what happened. Clary and Sebastian and Jason, all them, travel to this place called the Seventh Sacred Site to create his army of Dark Shadow Hunters. Sebastian summons Lilith because she wasn't killed forever. She's just like, she's a freaking demon high up there. She's not going to die forever. But he summons Lilith and mixes her blood into the second Mortal Cup, and he forces Amadis, Luke's sister, to drink from the cup and become the first dark shadow hunter, besides himself. And it has an amazing result. She's stronger than a regular shadow hunter. She's faster. She has no alliance to angels, and that's one of the main problems of the Dark Shadow Hunters, is they're all trained to use these angelic weapons, but their weapons don't work anymore, and they all kind of freak out when they finally get to the battle. He creates a lot more. Jace doesn't drink from the cup. No, don't worry about him. He's fine. I don't know why he didn't. It probably would have been smart, but whatever. I didn't write the book. Cassandra Clare did, and